Yes guys, I hope each and every single one of you are keeping well, and we are back with another video. So obviously last video was about mindset mastery, and I'll be doing a lot of regular mindset mastery sessions as well once in a while. Obviously now everybody is in lockdown. I hope everybody's keeping safe as well and staying safe, keeping away from everything that they need to be keeping away from. Just stay indoors. Trust me when I say this, it is the best policy to stick to. So here's some amazing news before I move on. A lot of people have been losing their jobs. A lot of people have cut their incomes back, and even myself, I've got another business that is slightly holding back slightly as well in the property industry because of what is going on. But my other two businesses have been striving. Now, as you can see here, the screenshot, I cleared over £17,572 last week. And I was actually going to do this video at the end of last week, but then again, end of this week, I cleared another £16,420. Guys, that's totaling of over 33,900 in literally 2 weeks. Now, some people don't even get to see that kind of money in a whole year. Yeah, and we're able to do it from the comfort of our own homes. As you can see, we're able to sit at home in our lounges every single day and just do exactly this same thing multiple times over. And because of this, I've managed to spend even more time just concentrating on exactly what I do on a day-to-day basis and on a weekly basis every single day, without fail. If this was to go on even further, I'd be absolutely grateful either way, because I'm able now to concentrate even further on a skill that I had picked up exactly 6 years ago. And in fact, that last profit that I made end of last week, which was just over 16,000, was quite precious to me, because that week ended on the 3rd of April, and just a day after was exactly 6 years. The 4th of April 2014 was the first time I ever walked in to the forex industry, or the currency exchange industry, and the financial markets. Now, a lot of people have been asking me, how is money made? Yeah, how do you make that kind of money, or how does a general person make a lot of money in a very short space of time and period? Yeah, and first of all, it took 6 years for myself to get here in the first place. You have to turn over just over £15,000 every single week. Secondly, you need to understand what money is. Now, I ask a lot of people as well, or these same people that do ask me, how do you do this? I ask them a simple question: what motivates you? So a lot of them do say money motivates me. Then I ask, what is money? In your eyes, what is money? They reply with, it's something that you use to pay for something. And that is where they obviously are slightly on the correct side, but however, it's not all fun and games when it comes down to that explanation. There's a lot deeper fact that you need to understand. And if you don't understand what you're chasing, don't understand what you're working for, how are you going to make so much of it? You need to understand what it is and where it came from in the first place. Now, money on the Google website or the Google description literally states that money is a medium of exchange between two parties. It's a medium of exchange. So that means if I give you this and I say, give me a iPhone in return, you'll probably think I'm crazy, because this is not worth exactly the same as an iPhone. These are just Apple AirPods 2s, and these are not worth exactly the same as, depends actually what iPhone it is. Obviously if iPhone 4G, then obviously you wouldn't mind exchanging it. So everybody has a different value to a certain thing. Now, if I was to give you a £20 note, for instance, and ask you how much exactly would this £20 be worth, you would tell me that's worth £20. But why is it worth £20, right? It's because we agree that it's worth £20. So something is only valuable to what we agree its value to, right? At the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper, because if I give a monkey a banana and I give a monkey a £50 note, for instance, not even £20, £50 notes, he would choose the banana because he doesn't know what that paper is worth. Whereas a human, if you give a human a £50 note or a choice between a banana, they would end up choosing the £50 notes, because that £50 note would end up giving them so many more bananas in return, right? You have to understand exactly what money is, how it started, where it came from, and why it is so valuable to the world right now. Also, I'll talk about where the future of money is going over the next few years and over the next few decades. So back in 9000 BC, we're going back in the day now, 9000 BC, I'm not too sure if dinosaurs were available back then, but yeah, this was around that age, yeah, the caveman age, and etc. But that is where the barter system came into place. So this is where the people were exchanging goods for goods. One person exchanges 4 fish that they had end up catching for about 20 eggs. Yeah, and if he agrees that, okay, it's not worth 20 eggs, it's only worth 18 eggs, they both agree, they come to an agreement and they swap. And that went on for many, many years. That went on for, hundreds of years, until around the 1100 BC, where the gold system came into place. Now, the problem with the barter system is that if I wanted something like a loaf of bread in exchange for those eggs, and you didn't have that loaf of bread, whatever you do have, let's say you have a few apples and I don't eat apples, that's not worth a lot to me anymore. I don't want that, so I don't want what you are asking, so I'm not going to give you what you're asking for. Those two things aren't worth exactly the same. Then it came down later on down the line, a few hundred years, they started exchanging whale's teeth. Now, whale's teeth is obviously very valuable because you can't get whale's teeth anywhere unless you obviously kill a whale, which is very hard to do. Yeah, it's like 10 times the size of you, 100 times the size of you, and bloody hell, if you do get to kill a whale, I really do want to meet you and shake your hand. But yeah, whale's teeth, started to become the medium of exchange because that was known as of value. Then suddenly 1100 BC came into place and the gold system came out. Now, the first ever gold exchange took place in China, or whichever was recorded in China, and that is where people exchange gold for goods, because gold is worldwide known as a very rare metal, only comes out of the ground in a certain way and is worth so much and will always hold its value. It may fluctuate a lot in value, but it will always hold long-term value to it because firstly, there is a limited supply of it. Secondly, it cannot be mimicked or imitated. And thirdly, it can't ever be broken. Yeah, you can split it into pieces and it will still be worth the same in those 2 pieces. Yeah, so if I split a bar of gold in half, let's say the bar of gold is worth £10,000. Yeah, and I split it in half, each half will be worth £5,000 and £5,000. They will still be worth exactly the same value. Yeah. Now, that went on for a very, very, very long time, and the gold era went on from all the way from 1100 BC to 600 BC, and that is when gold coins started coming into place. It was like a token, so that made it easier to exchange a certain amount of gold coins for whatever goods you're offering. So let's say I exchange, 100 gold coins for this. Yeah, I can also get back change. Now, that's another thing that they weren't able to do with the standard gold system. Yeah, they weren't able to give you back change in return because they would have to get the gold, start cutting it up and give you your change, or you're only able to buy a certain amount of things with that gold and you're not able to get a certain amount of change back in return. Yeah, so gold coins allowed it to be split into multiple different sizes. And with those gold coins, you were able to buy many, many more things at a different kinds of value rather than something of one whole value. Like I said, the gold coins came into place at around the 600 BC mark, but there was a little issue now. Gold coins were very long to carry around with you. They could easily be stolen. Thirdly, there was a lot of counterfeiting taking place. So people were mixing gold coins with lead, with tin, and with brass, yeah, to create the same effect as gold was creating. So there was a lot of counterfeiting that was taking place, and over the next few years they had to start bringing in gold testers and professionals like goldsmiths to validate the originality of the gold. Yeah, so that all took place after around 1250 AD. Every country had their own official gold coin that was only produced by them. Yeah, and it became illegal to make gold coins anywhere else other than in the main government's central bank. Now, between 1250 and 1290, a famous group of goldsmiths literally spread out across the whole world, creating banks for these gold coins. Yeah, and in these banks, they were giving back receipts of these gold coins. Let's say you had 20 gold coins, you gave them to me, I gave you back a receipt saying that you have stored your gold coins over here. Now people were exchanging those receipts instead of coming back to collect those gold coins. They would rather leave them in their bank or the bank of gold. They would rather leave those coins in the bank of gold and instead end up exchanging the receipts, because if you look on a £20 note, it will actually say that I owe the bearer £20. Now, what the UK or their standard of gold was they didn't have gold, they had sterling silver. So that's the reason why the UK's currency is called sterling. Yeah, Great British Pound sterling. Yeah. So everybody had their own type of gold, everybody had their own type of currency that they were exchanging for these pieces of notes or these receipts. Yeah, and now these receipts are still used today in the cash system that we use. Now, when it came down to the 1600s, that is when all banks closed their doors for everybody to collect back their gold again. All across the world ended up saying, because remember that it was a whole group of family, yeah, that ended up spreading across the world over the hundreds of centuries that, you know, the gold system was in place and these banks of gold were in place everywhere across the world. And that is when they said, you know what, we're closing our doors and nobody can come and collect their gold coins anymore. So from now on, everybody will start exchanging these receipts instead for these gold, because at the end of the day, they are still backed by these gold in case, you know, anything does go wrong, or in case this whole paper system gets abolished, this whole cash system gets put out of place, and we will start exchanging gold again, and then you are able to come back and exchange your gold for your paper, right, or your receipts. Now, this took place over a period, and eventually in 1860, paper currency was spread out across the world. Yeah, so everybody started exchanging these paper currency, whereas coins were still used, and coins are still used to this day as cash payments. Yeah, for something small or whatever it is. Yeah, you can even collect a whole bunch of coins and buy something big if you wish. It is still classified as cash, but none of it has any gold in it anymore. Yeah, so coins are still used and still official to a country's currency. So then, 1944, around the Second World War, the Bretton Woods system came out. Bretton Woods. Now, this is where everything changed across the world. This is where so much took place, and the World War II literally set off a big alarm to the whole world when it came down to money and currency. So 1944, the Bretton Woods system was introduced, and that is where the dollar was the only currency now backed up by gold and became the head of the currency exchange market, determining the price based on supply and demand once again. Yeah, so the only country now to back their currency by gold, and still does today, is the US dollar. Yeah, however, nobody else out there, even if you have $100 US, you cannot take your dollars to Federal Reserve Bank and exchange your $100 back for gold. They just know that it backs up the whole, it doesn't back up like the currency, but it backs up now the economy of the country. Yeah, so if anything does go wrong, they still have those gold reserves that they can take and sell anywhere in the world, and it is worth a hell of a lot of money. They also did this by colonizing many countries out there, but we'll leave that to another video. And even in the 1944, a lot of gold was stolen from Nazi Germany, and now it's all held in the gold vaults in the Federal Reserve Bank. But like I said, we will save that for another video. Now, ever since that took place, that is when currency exchange started fluctuating. Because no other currency was backed by gold except for the US dollar, it is only that point where US currency or US dollars were rated very high value, and every other currency out there was not. So therefore, every other currency was only based on supply and demand. So obviously the demand for gold is very high, but demand for paper isn't. Therefore, like I said right at the beginning of this video, if I was to give you a £20 note and ask you how much it's worth, you would say £20. But if I was to rip it up in front of you, what's it worth now? Nothing. Yeah, absolutely nothing. At the end of the day, it's just a piece of paper. So we are going by how much a piece of paper is worth based on supply and demand. Yeah, based on what we are willing to pay for it and what we value it to be. Therefore, later on down the line, things started digitalizing. So around the 1960s, 1970s is when the internet came and started taking effect on the world. Yeah, digital technology came into the world, and it's only around the late 1980s is where the credit card system was brought into place. Online banking was still a new thing. Not everybody was online, but it's only up until the 1998 when the world actually started the World Wide Web for everybody to use. Before that, it wasn't available for everybody. It was only around 1998 where it had started being available for everybody to use out there in the world, the World Wide Web. And everybody remembers it. It was that dial-up connection. I still remember that. And floppy disks. So we've come a very, very long way. Yeah. So credit cards are now linked to banks. Now things have changed. In 2016, Apple introduced Apple Pay, which is a contactless form of payment. And just before that, there was a major crash in the markets of buying and selling when it came down to 2008. Now, 2008 was a very significant year for the world, because that is when they realized the supply and demand of currency, if you fluctuate it too much, can come crashing down. So if you pump too much supply into the economy of money, if you just keep printing money, and making credit out there, pumping it out into the economy, just giving it out to everybody, eventually something is going to come crashing down. And that is what happened with the housing market in 2008, and which started off in the US and spread out throughout the rest of the world. Because remember, the US are still the head of all currency exchanges in the world, because their currency is the only one that is actually backed still by gold. And it's not actually their currency, it's their economy. Yeah, so that came crashing down, and ever since that is where cryptocurrency came into place. And that will save for another video, or I may even do that on the next video. If you want me to shoot the next video on cryptocurrency, write the comments down below, and I'll tell you what cryptocurrency is, how it came about, and how every single one of us can benefit from it, and what the future is for the cryptocurrency world, including Bitcoin and other successful cryptocurrencies out there that have developed from the Bitcoin blockchain. Now we are in an era of everything is digital, and things are moving now towards the 5G world. It has never been, in fact, never been easier to make money from a laptop and a smartphone anywhere around the world, literally. So where we are sitting right now, we can actually make money from here. We can use it to be an ATM to start making money and withdrawing from directly into our bank accounts, or we can use it for other purposes like spending the money we have earned. It just depends what kind of mindset or what kind of the world you are living in. Yeah, if you're living in a more consumer mindset, yeah, and a more consumer environment where everybody is buying things, then yeah, you know, you would end up jumping online and starting to buy things with your credit cards and your Apple Pay devices, rather than trying to make money into your credit cards and into your Apple Pay devices. So it's all about what environment you come from, and how or which kind of mindset you have, a consumer mindset or a producer mindset. Yeah, and if you have a consumer mindset, you'll be spending the money. If you have a producer mindset, you'll be producing the money. Yeah, other than that. So once again, I do thank every single one of you for plugging into this video. Watch out for the next video as well, where we will show you exactly what we do with all this money we've earned over the last couple of weeks in quarantine and indoors. Thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you like and subscribe. It will really, really mean a lot to myself. And share this video if you have found this very, very valuable to yourselves. Thank you.